a motor vehicle to which I am not operating a motor vehicle. And this is what we are trying to
I guess.
circumvent.
Yeah,
I am operating my
it's not
automobile,
circumventing.
not a motor vehicle.
I will ask you this. How is your right to travel removed by receiving the citation?
By trying to require me to have a license to operate a automobile, which is my private vehicle.
Today's court hearing is turning out to be anything but ordinary. We've got someone who identifies as a sovereign citizen, claiming they don't need car insurance because they're traveling, not driving. The attorney and magistrate both take their time with this individual, and the conversation gets pretty heated. Honestly, I think the magistrate might have been a little too patient here. It feels like this could have been wrapped up much faster. What's your take? Do you think the magistrate was too lenient, or did he handle the situation just right? Let's see how it all unfolds.
This is a civil infraction. If you were found responsible, all other things being equal, the court would assess $125 fines, costs, and fees. It is a 0-point ticket. And in the second case that ends with the letter B, that same date, time, and place, you were issued a citation for having an expired registration plate. That is also a civil infraction. It is also a 0-point civil infraction. If you were found responsible, all other things being equal, the court would assess $110 fines, costs, and fees. So first question, is that the ticket or the two cases that you thought you were appearing about, Mr. Williams?
It is.
Okay. And same question to you, Officer Kellums?
Yes, sir.
Very good. In every civil case, the plaintiff has the burden of proof. And in a case like this, that burden of proof is called by a preponderance of evidence.
Only question I have is, will the laws of the U.S. Supreme Court be applicable? And the federal statutes and definitions of motor vehicle and automobile be applicable in this proceeding?
They are the state of Michigan laws that will be applicable.
Okay. The other question is, are you already not bound by U.S. Supreme Court rulings?
Every court is bound by relevant Supreme Court rulings.
Okay. All right.
I'm not sure why you're asking that, but that's okay. All right, Officer Kellums, if you would begin, please.
So on November 19th, 2024, I was on patrol for the Battle Creek Police Department. When I observed the vehicle that Mr. Roosevelt was driving, I observed that it had expired tags on the vehicle. I then conducted a traffic stop on Fountain Street near Meacham Ave. Found Mr. Williams to be driving the vehicle, where I issued him the citations. When speaking with Mr. Williams, he could not provide insurance, and his tags were expired.
All right. Did Mr. Williams say anything to you during the stop about having insurance or not having insurance, or anything about the tags on the plates, anything like that?
He informed me that he did not have to have insurance due to that he was traveling, and to drive a vehicle, you don't have to have insurance. Something regarding Supreme Court. That's about all he said.
Okay. All right. Do you want me to consider anything else at this point, Officer Kellums?
No, sir.
Okay, Mr. Williams, could you hear Officer Kellums' testimony?
Yes, I heard his testimony.
Very good. Thank you for your patience. What do I need to know, sir?
Okay, I did inform Officer Kelly that I am not operating a motor vehicle, but I am operating an automobile. I did inform Officer Kelly of the ruling of Rodriguez v. Ray Donovan, U.S. Department of Labor, 769 Federal 2nd, 1344, where the U.S. Supreme Court's decision has ruled that all codes, rules, and regulations are for government authorities only and not for human creators. In accordance with God laws, all codes, rules, and regulations are unconstitutional and lacking due process.
All right, I'm going to interrupt you just for a second. Are you telling me that a case at 769 Fed 2nd, 1344 indicates that all laws are unconstitutional?
This sovereign citizen tries to use Rodriguez v. Ray Donovan as part of his defense for not having insurance. But here's the thing, that case doesn't apply here. It was about a specific situation in another state and has no bearing on Michigan's laws. In Michigan, you can't just claim you're traveling to dodge legal requirements. I'm not sure why he even brought this case up, Maybe he thought it would strengthen his argument, but the magistrate clearly knows the law inside and out. The outcome seems pretty obvious at this point. What do you think? Why did he believe this case was relevant? Sometimes their logic is just hard to follow.
All codes, rules, and regulations. Yes, sir. Rodriguez v. Ray Donovan. And if
Well,
I'm not mistaken,
and you said that was Department of what?
U.S. Department of Labor.
Okay, U.S. Department of Labor doesn't publish decisions in the Fed second. Can you tell me a little bit more about the case? What was at issue in the case?
It was regarding what we're discussing here, the requirements of a driver's license and the need when it's required to have one, stating that when you're not operating in commerce, to which I informed the officer that I am not operating in commerce as stated in USC 18 USCA 31 paragraph A6 states that a motor vehicle, the term of motor vehicle meaning every description of carriage, conveyance, propelled or drawn or mechanical powered and used for commercial purposes. This is what Title 18 USCA Section 31A6 states or defines as a motor vehicle, to which I am not operating in commerce. I'm not using
for the purposes of that particular chapter of the United States Code. It would not control what happens in terms of the Michigan legislature defining in Chapter 257 what a motor vehicle is, and an automobile under Michigan law is a motor vehicle. But okay, continue.
It's a motor vehicle, which is described as anything, even by the Michigan compliance statute of 751, which you just stated, is determined as something that's transporting goods, which I'm not transporting goods.
I understand your position, and I can tell you that position doesn't happen to be legally correct. But go ahead.
So you're basically stating that there's a misinterpretation of what's in black and white?
This person seems to be testing the magistrate, even trying to put words in his mouth. Not the best move when the magistrate decides your fate. Challenging the person who can impose fines or penalties. Risky. Is he misinformed, like many sovereign citizens, or trying to outsmart the magistrate? Either way, it's fascinating to watch. He brings up more cases. Let's see where this goes.
No, I'm telling you that you have misinterpreted the application of 18 USC 31A6 and 769 F second or Fed second 1344.
Okay,
but
well, I see what
I've heard your argument.
So there will be no further arguments because I see that you're not going to agree to, because like I said, I've given it to you, the cases where they're like Shapiro v. Thompson, where the U.S. Supreme Court has said that a driver license is not a requirement, that you're trying to convert a right into a privilege, to which is covered by Article 1, Section 8.
I'll ask you this. Is that right, the right to travel?
That is a right to travel, convey, however you want it, by the U.S. Constitution.
What you just told me was that somehow but regardless, am trying to convert a right into a privilege. Now, the question I have for you is, what right has been converted to a privilege?
My right to freely travel encumbered and
now,
unfettered.
I will ask you this. How is your right to travel removed by receiving the citation?
By trying to require me to have a license to operate a automobile, which is my private vehicle.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you want me to consider?
No, sir.
All right. Well, I can tell you this. The Michigan motor vehicle laws, including the laws that require you to carry insurance, that require your vehicle to be registered, and require that registration to be current, do not run in violation of any right to travel under the Constitution or the United States Supreme Court decision that you have cited. In fact, the Michigan courts have held that essentially the right to travel means the right for you to move from A to B, not the right for you to travel from A to B under your most convenient way. So you could walk from point A to B all you wanted. You could take a taxi or an Uber or a plane or a train or a bus. But if you wish to travel by using a motor vehicle, the Michigan laws are applicable and don't unconstitutionally interfere with the right to travel. It doesn't convert the right to travel into a privilege. You are not denied the right to travel. You may be denied the privilege of traveling via a motor vehicle that you are operating.
This court hearing really needs to wrap up. The sovereign citizen can't even quote the cases he's written down correctly. It's like someone getting a book report without reading the book. Honestly, it's frustrating to watch. I'm not sure how the magistrate is staying so patient. It feels like he's trying to explain basic law to a brick wall. I get that it's part of his job, but this level of explanation seems excessive. What do you think? Let's jump back in for the sentencing.
So
Okay, so
that is what the law says, and that's what I'm finding. Is there anything
Okay,
else
so-
you want me to consider about that finding?
Shuttleworth v. Birmingham, U.S. 147. Do you mind telling me what the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in that?
US 147 doesn't give me the site of a case. That's an incomplete site of a case. Okay.
It was Shuttle.
And
I
if
said-
you wish me
I
to
said
consider the case,
Shuttleworth.
why don't you tell me what was at issue in the case and what year it was decided?
I said Shuttleworth v. Birmingham, U.S. 147, 1969, where it says
Hold
no
on. US
license.
147 is not a complete site. The way you cite to a case is by name and then volume number and then the name of the publication and then the page number. So, for instance, when you said 769 Fed 2nd 1344, what that means is volume 769 of a book or volumes called the Federal Reporter, second edition, at page 1344. So when you're asking me about this most recent case that you've talked about, what you said was US 147, I think. That's not the citation to a case. So you're going to have to tell me more about that case. Who were the parties to that case, and what issue was before the Supreme Court in that case?
Okay, so you didn't hear me cite the name of Shuttleworth v. Birmingham?
I heard you say the name. That
Okay,
doesn't tell me what. That's not a complete cite of the case.
All right. Do you not have the documents that I filed when I filed to say that I want to have an informal hearing? The affidavit that writes that my
there are documents that have been scanned into the court that you dropped off.
okay.
So from
even
those documents, why don't you tell me the proper citation for Shuttle versus Birmingham?
Okay, traffic infractions are not crimes. Blah blah blah. Person faced with okay.
Right. Traffic infractions are not crimes. That's absolutely correct. They are civil infractions for a reason.
I was reading from a different case, but the case that I'm citing from states that no license necessary to drive an automobile on public highways, streets. No license is necessary. The word operator should not include any person who solely transport his own property and who transport no persons or property for hire or
Where's that
compensation.
citation from?
Okay, I just appeal it, and that way I can make sure all citations are.
That's fine. I mean, the idea is I can't look up what you're telling me, right, without a proper citation. So you can read. I mean, for all I know, and I don't mean this, I'm using a farcical example. For all I know, you're quoting the municipal court in Honolulu, Hawaii, which has no jurisdiction over Michigan.
It's understandable.
I don't know.
So
this sovereign citizen stood out from the typical cases. He remained calm and even wished the magistrate a good day, something you don't often hear from individuals like him. It seems he wanted to test the sovereign citizen argument, but quickly dropped it when he saw it wasn't working. The $235 fine for expired tags and no insurance? Completely fair. Those fines are in place for a reason, to ensure accountability and safety on the roads. Break the rules and you face the consequences. What do you think? Did the magistrate handle this well, or should he have been stricter? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching.
So I would cite Payne v. Massey, 19, 196 Southwest 2nd, 493, Texas, 273.
Okay. Well, and I can tell you that Texas law, a court interpreting Texas law, that decision wouldn't be controlling on a Michigan court. But that's fine. I think I understand where you're going. If you want, I don't need to consider anything else. I'm just asking you, is there anything else
Okay, well,
you want to present to me?
if you're not going to consider anything else, then we can proceed on to your ruling, of which I know you're going to find. So, and like I said, like you said, I have a right to appeal it. So,
yeah, and I'm willing to listen. If you're going to quote something, I need to know what you're quoting, and I need a proper citation so I can look it up myself, right? Because otherwise people could just run around quoting Mickey Mouse if they wanted.
is my automobile not my private personal automobile that's not being used in commerce?
I would have no idea the use of your motor vehicle, and it's not relevant to me for the purposes of deciding whether you're responsible for these civil infractions.
Okay. Well, I have nothing else for you to consider.
Well, very good. I'm letting you know the law does not make a distinction between your using the vehicle for personal reasons or you're using the vehicle for commercial reasons when your registration plate is expired and when you fail to show proof of insurance. Both of those are required.
The MCL language.
Both of those are required under Michigan law for anyone operating any motor vehicle. That's what I can tell you. So,
correct. If you're a motor vehicle, to which I am not operating a motor vehicle, and this is what we are trying to, I guess, circumvent.
Yeah,
I am operating my automobile, not a motor vehicle.
I can tell you that an automobile is considered a motor vehicle under the Michigan Motor Vehicle Code. So that's fine. Is there anything else you want me to consider?
Nope.
Very good. All right. So I've listened very carefully to the evidence. I do find that it's more likely than not that when you were required to by Officer Kellums at a traffic stop show proof that your vehicle was insured, that you failed to do so, and that it is more likely that your not your operator's license, the registration plates on the vehicle were expired. So I'm going to assess the $125 on the no proof of insurance case and the $110 on the expired plates case. All right. Thank you both for your time and patience. You're all set. Have a very good day.
Thank you, sir. You too.
You too.